Um, Welcome to Esomnofu Chidebube mathematics class. Okay. Take a look at this bicycle. You observe that this bicycle is having two wheels, right? And in the wheels there are a lot of spokes. If you take your tape and make a good measurement from the center of the wheel to the circumference of the wheel, you will find out that the length of each of these spokes remains the same. So this is just a wheel that looks like a circle, right? In a circle, it has equal distance from the center to any part of the circumference. Take a look at this orange shape. When you get an orange and cut it into two parts, a circular tops emanates. This leads us into a very nice topic in mathematics known as circle theorems. Okay, you've seen the topic, the circle theorems. But in this circle theorem, we are going to pay more attention on one particular theorem. At each point in time, a new video will be released that will deal with the various circle theorems. So today, we are going to center on the theorem, which is saying that the angle subtended by an arc of a circle at the center is twice that which it subtends at any part of the circumference. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to define a circle. You should also be able to state and solve problems involving the circle theorem. The theorem here is the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference of a circle. Okay, when the word circle is mentioned, what comes to your mind? A circle is just a plane shape that has equal distance from the center to any part of the circumference. So when you come to any shape and you're able to measure and you find out that the shape is having equal distance from the center to any part of the circumference, you now know that the shape is tagged a circle. So a circle is a plane shape. It must be plane, a flat shape. All right, now let us, without wasting time, speed up into the circle theorem we want to discuss for today. Now this theorem number one is telling us that the angle subtended by an arc at the center of a circle is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. Now look at the center of this circle, as you can see there. The angle subtended at the center of this circle is 100 degrees. You will now find out that the angle that will be at the circumference of the circle will be 50 degrees. This theorem is valid because it has been proven to be correct. All right, so I want you to note down from today that whenever you come to any circle, any angle you see at the center must be twice the angle you see at the circumference. Remember, the circumference is just the line that surrounds a circle. All right, distance around a circle is a circumference. The distance around a circle. The angle at its circumference is 50 degrees, while the angle at the center is 100 degrees. We call this the double angle, because the angle at the center doubles the angle at the circumference. You get? So I repeat again, the angle subtended by an arc at the center of a circle is twice the angle at the circumference. Please, this circle theorem is very important. If you don't understand the theorem, never you try to go solving problems involving it, because you have a problem. You cannot drive a car you've not learned how to drive. You get? So learning the theorem is just like learning how to drive a car. Now, once you've learned the theorem, which is learning how to drive a car, you can easily drive the car. So I encourage you to understand the theorem, know how it works. It will not help you so much in solving problems involving the theorem. That is why most students find this topic, circle theorem, very difficult to tackle, because they want to just delve into it and solve problems without moving back to learn the various theorems behind it. Okay, now, like in this lesson, our aim is just to discuss this double angle. Angular center is twice the angular circumference. But there is another theorem that relates to this, which I just want to include here too. Now, when a diameter is seen, it means that a semicircle has emanated. Remember, a diameter is just a special kind of chord that passes through the center of a circle. And because it is passing through the center of the circle, it is dividing the circle into two equal parts. You get? So the angle at the center now, since that diameter is a straight line, is 180 degrees. So if the angle at the center is 180 degrees, from the theorem, angle at center is twice angle at circumference. You now know that the angle at the circumference will now be 90 degrees. Because if I divide 180 degrees by 2, it will give me 90 degrees. So we call this one semicircle theorem. The angle in a semicircle is a right angle. That is how we got 90 degrees. So the angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees, a right angle. Okay, now let us go into the problems on circle theorems. So our problem will center mostly on these two theorems we've talked about. New videos will be coming out that will discuss the other circle theorems vividly. Okay. Now take a look at this question. Number 1, it says, calculate the value of x in the figure below. Calculate the value of x in the figure below. Now take a look at this circle very well. You observe that the angle at the center is 120 degrees, while the angle at the circumference is just x, right? Then from the theorem, angle at center is twice the angle at circumference. You can see here vividly that the angle at the circumference is just x. Circumference is that angle that is attached to the circumference. It is just x. Therefore, you must double the angle at the circumference to get the angle at the center. That is why you see in the solution part of this program, where I wrote 2x is equal to 120 degrees. Yes, because I must double the one at the circumference to get the one at the center. 2x equal to 120 degrees. Angle at center is twice angle at circumference. Now, if 2x is 120 degrees, to get the value of x, I have to divide both sides by 2. Hence, x will now be 120 degrees divided by 2. And that will give me 60 degrees. So it's very, very simple. Because you've learned the theorem, dealing with the problems involving it is no longer a problem. All right, so you can see here that x is now 60. Because if I double 60, I will get 120 degrees. Angle at center is twice angle at circumference. Okay, now take a look at this question 2. It says, O is the center of the circle. Calculate the size of the angle T. O is the center of the circle. We are asked to calculate the size of angle T. This is very simple, but if you don't know the theorem, it looks very, very difficult to solve. Well, in all honesty, it is quite simple to deal with. Right. Now, your target is to know the angle at circumference and also to know the angle at the center. A good look at this figure will show you that the angle at the center is T, while the angle at the circumference is unknown. But you will see here that angle WYX is now our angle at the circumference and is unknown. But there is a straight line which is WYZ. You can see a straight line WYZ running. And the angle on a straight line is always 180 degrees. The sum of angles on a straight line is 180 degrees. Therefore, the angle at the circumference will now be 180 degrees minus that 117 degrees, which is outside. When you take the subtraction, you get 63 degrees angles on a straight line. So I have got that the angle at the circumference is 963 degrees by removing 117 degrees from 180 degrees. So since the angle at the circumference is now 63 degrees, if I want to get my t, which is the angle at the center, I have to double 63 degrees because angle at center is twice angle at circumference. So 2 times 63 degrees will give me 126 degrees. So you've now seen here that the angle T is equivalent to 126 degrees. This is very simple. Always find out the angle at the center and find out also the angle at the circumference. Once you are able to find these things out, solving the problem will no longer be a trouble to you. Let's take more questions. The more you solve, the more you understand this appropriately. Okay, question 3 says we should find the value of x. This one is quite simple. We are asked to find the value of x. You've seen that your x is the angle at the circumference. Y 264 degrees is the angle at the center. So to deal with this, I've got to double the angle at the circumference to get the angle at the center.